Hi, it's Chris from OPENPHOTO-STUDIO. Thanks for joining me. In this video I'm going to show you how I scan and digitize 35mm black and white negative film, and to take those strips and get them on screen to be able to do editing. These particular negative films have been produced on a over 40-year-old Nikon FM2 with a new but manual Voigtlander lens on it, and I've shot those with just a Ilford FP4 125 ASA film. Now, to do the digitizing, I'm actually going to be using my Nikon 850. This is 50 megapixel sensor camera, so the idea is to basically photograph your negs and get them onto that 50 megapixel sensor and create files out of them. Now, to do that, Nikon have a adapter. This is the box. It is the ES-2 film digitizing adapter, and in the box you basically have a screen with a holder on it. There is an extension ring that you can actually add to that if you're not using full format, but that doesn't apply to me, so that's not needed. And then you actually have your film strip holder, so you actually put the film in here and it actually passes through the screen. And in terms of light source, I just use an LED light source like the one that's actually coming on to me now. In fact, the good thing is I can actually control the lux level and the color rendition of the light source, and then I set that actually on the camera so that I know if I've virtually got a like for like. That carriage is for screen, for films, and that carriage is if you're doing 35mm transparencies, but again, I'm not using that one today. Now, to use this adapter, you do need a 60mm macro lens. As you can see by the front of it, it is a macro lens, and the simple way of doing it is literally that on the internal thread. You actually pop that on. Now, it's actually got an adjustment ring here, so you can line up your front screen on there. I will just square that up a little bit, and I'll also just raise the camera a little so you can see it. So that's all you need to do in terms of the adapter on the front. And on the back, you do need to create this in live view. I'll just turn my camera on, pop it in live view, and if you press the information button, which is the I button, you'll actually see that it says at the top here is negative digitizing, and that menu is for capturing the menu, the film strip. I'll just pull it into there. So I'm just going to drop the camera down a little. So we take our carriage, it clips open, it's hinged open on there. Just pop it on the desk. I'm going to take my first run of film strip. I should be using white cotton gloves, but I forgot to bring them out. Lay it down, and there's some little lugs there that enable you to set it in position, and then bring the top down and it just clips. Just check that it's all okay. It's more or less, I could have improved that, but that's ready to go. So I'll bring my camera back up again in here, just lock that off, and what we will do is pass the film strip in here. So I'll put it about halfway, something like that, and turn it round so you should be able to see now that the negative is showing up in there. Let's just move it to another one. You can see it moving around. Now you can actually use the autofocus on here. That will lock it into position, and you would set your exposure up for this particular one. I'll just see this isn't set up for the correct exposure, but you're basically using set your speed and set your aperture to the correct exposure. Obviously once you've set it up once, it's not going to vary an awful lot on the actual film strip, but let's just make a change here on this. I'll just drop that down, and it's a little bit brighter on there. It's not the correct exposure, but once you've actually done it, literally shoot, and you've now taken a photograph of that frame. Now I've actually set this up slightly different. I'm shooting raw only because I know I want to do some edits. If you were to set it to JPEG, high-res JPEGs, then you could actually do the conversion into from negative into positive actually in the camera. As I said, I don't tend to do that. I want a raw file. I will do my conversion from negative into positive through Photoshop. So that's basically it. Once you've shot that, you bring the next one through, shoot that all the way through, take the film strip out, change it over for another film strip. In the next section of this video, I'll show you on screen taking this out the camera and putting it into Photoshop and doing a conversion to positive and a little bit of editing. I've taken the XQD card out of the Nikon 850. Obviously you might be using Wi-Fi connections or SD cards or any other form of transferring your data, but that's what I've got, and I actually put it into a card reader, pop that in there, and you'll see the icon has come up on the desktop here, where I can then open that up, bring that down, open the file up, and you'll actually see all the photographs that I've taken of the film strip are all sitting there. I'll go on to the on-screen video so you can see what I do next. So I'm now on screen, and you can see the 6 film negatives that I shot on the Nikon 850. What I'm going to do, and again everybody will do this slightly different, but this is the way that I deal with it. This is my hard drive, and I'm going to move all of those photographs into, and you'll see it says neg scans. That's the camera that I used, the FM2. I've already created a test neg folder so that I can take those 6 images and pop them in there, and that will just quickly transfer. That's done. I can then eject my card from the screen. Don't need that anymore. That will close down. I will now open my Adobe Lightroom Classic and transfer those images into Adobe Lightroom. Again, what we do is come up the top, if you haven't done this before, import photos and videos. That's my hard drive. It's in photos, photos here. There's my neg scans. There's my FM2, and that's the test negs. Open that and they will start to be brought through. I select all 6 of them, and over on the right hand side we just go import, and that will start to bring them through. Yeah, so now I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to make them a collection within this group here, which is the FM2 camera negs. So easy enough to do. New collection. I'm going to go inside the FM2 collection set, and I'm just going to call this test negs, because actually I've already got these in there, and that's put them in there. So as they come through, it's now put those 6 in place. Now the obviously they're still all in negative form, and I need to convert them to a positive. Again, the easiest way to do that is to select all 6, right click, go to edit, and go to edit in Photoshop. Click that and it will load all 6 in one go. It will take a little time. Let's just move this into Photoshop. It's just got a spinning wheel. My computer has slowed down of recent, but here we come. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I'm interested in. So all we need to do to invert those, go to images, go to adjust, and go to invert, and it flicks over straight away. Obviously you need to save that, and that's now made it into a TIFF file. It's just saving that. That's now done. Go to the next one. If you can use a shortcut, which is Command I, which will invert it, and Command S will save it. So you can actually do this pretty quickly once you get going. So I'll do it manually first. So images, adjust, invert, and then file, save. And there's, you'll see the save going through. And this one, again, I'll do this off the keyboard. Command I is inverted, Command S is saving it. I'll just do the last two. So we are going to go to Command I, Command S. It's been saved. It's fully saved. Move to the last one. Command I, Command S, and it's been saved. There we go. I'm just going to close these down. I could just close the whole thing down, but I want to leave this particular one open for the moment, and we'll come back to that. So now in Lightroom, you'll actually see I've got the negative version and the positive version of the same image. The positive version, you see, has a green tinge to it. That's because we are actually been saved in RGB as opposed to grayscale. You can save to grayscale at the very last moment if you wish, but while you're doing editing, it's best to leave it in RGB because most of the software works in RGB format. So we'll just look at the whole film strip. This, I actually did work on these ones. You'll see there was 3 in the shot in there, different exposures. This was another one at Whitstable Harbour I was looking at, and whoops, sorry, let's bring it back up, which I actually have done some work on, but that's your starting point. So what I would normally do is take an image, to take it into editing. I would literally go on there, right click, edit in Photoshop. I'm going to edit the original. That will bring it up in here, and from this point I can actually carry out all my editing work. The reason why I have that other folder file open was this is the one that I did the editing on. You'll actually see that this is full of layers. If I was to take all those layers off, that was the original negative image. That's when I made it into a positive. You will notice that it's all a little bit distorted. If I take a line through that's obviously a very dominant vertical on there, and I didn't like the way that it was leaning over. It wasn't too bad down the other end, and all through here was pretty good, but it was that point there. Well, that's actually quite an easy fix. I've done it there, which you've actually, if you go to your transform and go to distort, you actually drag this over on one side or the other to actually get it into place, and I use the guidelines to help me do that. This one is obviously already been done, so it's unnecessary for me to actually do anything. Then we go into Silver Effects Pro. Now you'll see this little toolbar here. That's my Silver Effects Pro program, black and white photography program. It's also available in filters under the Night collection, and it's Silver Effects Pro in there. I'm not going to go into the details of Silver Effects Pro because that's literally a video all on its own. But if I was to turn this on, I've actually done an edit here. It's quite a aggressive edit, and you're getting the grain coming through, but that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to not disguise the fact that this was done on film, and I wanted to have it as a tonal range and have the grain showing up in it. So that was my first edit. I've then done, if I turn this on and off, tiny little edits. I've opened, made this a little bit brighter because it had gone a bit dull. I then go on to my third edit. I've taken some bits out. Again, a little bit more work in this midsection here because that's where your eye is going to go. It will also, I've also kind of done a little bit of overall brightening on here. I've layered that off, so basically I've copy merged everything there into a single layer, and then I have created a layer mask over, you can see on this left hand side. And the layer mask, what I did was just bring the central part out and intensify the whites, again quite aggressively, because in my final layer what I've done is just tone them back a bit, and that's kind of given me the balance that I wanted. It's got a high vignette around the outside, a dark edge, but the tonal range running all the way through is really nice on that. And remember, that was taken with a camera that is well over 40 years old. However, it did have the new Voigtlander manual lens on it, and I think that's what's kind of helped the situation. So I hope you find that of interest. I will be doing more videos where I will show you in detail using software like Silver Effects Pro. I use Silver Effects Pro not just for any black and white work. It doesn't matter if it's neg, black and white neg, or if it's digital. You basically use that same process through. But it's quite extensive, and there's not one answer to it to anything. But I will do a review on that. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed looking at this, and I look forward to seeing you again soon on the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.